The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm Darren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, we sit down with the Reverend Dr. Frederick D. Haynes to discuss the recent police brutality cases taking place in Dallas, Texas. Afterwards, career strategist Elizabeth Carrazza will debunk the myth of a work-life balance and will teach us how to combat the feelings of being overwhelmed. And the BJT, Bronx Merchant Association, will discuss positive actions being done in the West Bronx. We'll learn a little bit more a little later on in the show. And then next, we'll also sit up with a breast cancer surgeon from Columbia, New York Presbyterian, discussing how breast cancer is affecting Black communities. And after that, we'll discuss about a resource fest providing housing and financial information to the community. Then, Lehman College's Global Citizen Gala will be honoring those making a world of difference in our community and across the globe. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello everyone, I'm Darren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, October 16th, and you're watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast live simultaneously on MNN's channel. You can also stay connected to us on all social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, kicking things off, some things have been going on through the past week. We're getting ready to take you through them with some Bronx updates. Well, Wilderness Inquiry returned to Van Cortlandt Park for Canoe Mobile, a free, unique experience for Bronxites to explore their local waterway. Our reporter Sanji Lopez brings us the story.
With the return of Canoe Mobile to Van Cortlandt Park, Bronxites got an opportunity to enjoy a free, unique experience at the Van Cortlandt Lake, led by Wilderness Inquiry.
Our mission is to take people of all ages, all abilities, all backgrounds out into nature. And specifically, we're on our Canoe Mobile program. So we travel across the country with our 6 Voyager canoes and our van and go to different cities and take people out on their local waterways. And we're here at Van Cortlandt Park having a community day, taking families out on the water and paddling with them.
During the community day, children and families of all ages learned to paddle at their local waterway and work together, enjoying the day's activities.
It was a great experience. It was our first time doing this, and it was fun. It was a great thing, right?
Yeah. The experience was absolutely beautiful. This is a wonderful organization that allows members of the Bronx community to come out and gain access to nature, so I thought it was really great.
And there aren't too many opportunities for people to really enjoy a lot of the nature all around the boroughs like this. So I really enjoyed it, and it was a great way to spend a Saturday morning.
And of course, as an added bonus, participants were able to admire the beauty of nature at one of our beautiful Bronx parks, Van Cortlandt.
Van Cortlandt's kind of a hidden gem in the Bronx. It's so beautiful. It really feels like a little break from city life. And especially with lakes, it's a really easy starting paddle for people who have never been on a canoe before. And the Friends of Van Cortlandt Park have definitely helped us a lot and give us a lot of support when it comes to planning these events and making sure school groups are coming and publicizing our community day.
For future events, visit the Friends of Van Cortlandt Park at vancortlandt.org/events and check out wildernessinquiry.org to learn more about this organization. Reporting for BronxNet, Sanji Lopez.
And thank you, Sanjay. If you missed the canoe mobile at Van Cortlandt Park, you can visit wildernessinquiry.org for more information on activities. Well, in other news, on Monday, October 14th, thousands of residents at the Robert F. Wagner housing were left without hot water. The 9-hour outage affected about 4,700 residents. With the decrease in temperature, NYCHA is expected to provide consistent heat and hot water for tenants. Now, in recent years, the Housing Authority has struggled with widespread heating failures. The Legal Aid Society is currently suing the city in an effort to win public housing tenants rent relief for NYCHA's failure to provide heat during the winters of 2017 and 2018. The lawsuit accuses the Housing Authority of failing to maintain its boilers and wrongly closing out heat complaints without ensuring utilities were properly restored. Well, that's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We're taking a quick break and we'll have more open. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.
Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
We're back here on Open. In national news, a Dallas-Fort Worth police officer is arrested and charged with murder, and the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas community remains in a state of heightened alert. This after yet another police officer-involved shooting leaves an innocent person dead in their home. The shooting death of Atiana Jefferson is now raising questions and calls for justice. Jefferson was shot to death by a Fort Worth police officer, Aaron Dean. Officers were responding to a wellness call made by a concerned neighbor. Jefferson was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew and reportedly went to the window after hearing noise from outside. Subsequently, following the shooting, Dean was placed on administrative leave and then later resigned from the force. Authorities later charged him with murder, as this shooting comes on the heels of recent shootings. Botham Jean and many individuals are now wondering, is justice really being served? Botham Jean was shot in his home by Amber Geiger. Geiger was recently sentenced to prison, but many people still questioning the question about whether or not justice was actually served there. Joining us now to tell us more details and to answer a few questions for us is the Reverend Dr. Freddie D. Haynes, who's also the senior pastor at the Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas, where he has served in the area for 37 years. And Dr. Haynes, good to have you.
Thank you so much, Brother Darren. How are you?
I'm doing good. Listen, let's get right to it. Your reaction, first of all, to the murder charge going against Officer Aaron Dean.
Well, I think that the Fort Worth Police Department recognizes the pressure that they are under, and so they orchestrated this quote-unquote murder charge, and Tarrant County recognizes this does not look good in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But number one, I don't want us to relax for 1 second because the murder charge is not an indictment. It has no teeth in terms of our pursuit of justice in this case. Number two, one of the things that I think all of us should be outraged about is beyond the murder of this beautiful young lady, this aunt, to add insult to injustice or injury, some may say, they interrogated her 8-year-old nephew. And a traumatized 8-year-old nephew gets interrogated about, what happened that night. And I'm sorry, that is crossing a line. And so right now, to be very honest with you, those of us in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as I'm sure around the country, are not falling for the okey-doke This murder charge is not something for us to get hyped and excited about because, again, it is not an indictment. And then number two, we are definitely disgusted over the interrogation of this 8-year-old child. And let me just also say this. The other thing that we have to keep pushing for, and that is an independent investigation. We do not trust the Fort Worth Police Department to investigate itself.
Right, and so let me just jump in and
ahead.
ask you, who exactly are you looking for to come in and investigate? There was talks about possibly the sheriff's office, federal government. Who would you like to see come and investigate?
Well, we definitely don't want the federal government under this administration. And so we are looking at the sheriff's department as an option. But again, we do not trust the Fort Worth Police Department. And for that matter, I'm not too keen on the federal government at this point.
Give me a little bit about the state of tension right now in Dallas-Fort Worth. A lot of people concerned across the nation, and you hear a lot of public comments across the nation. But what is the actual state in Dallas-Fort Worth right now?
I mean, it's tense. We have reached a point where, again, on one level, we recognize we're not safe in our own sanctuaries, our own homes. At the same time, I mean, calling 911, becomes, a Russian roulette game where you just don't know how it's going to turn out. And so the word on the street now is we've got to come up with some alternative means for protecting ourselves because it's too dangerous to call the police because there is something in the water of white supremacy in this nation and in the training of police officers that when they come to our community or when they find themselves in proximity to a black body, their only response is not to de-escalate, but instead to not only escalate, but indeed, kill, the person that they have already deemed a threat to them.
You spoke pretty profoundly during the Botham Jean case. You were very outspoken during that case with the case of Amber Geiger. And that case just concluded. Looking now at this particular shooting, a lot of lessons people have learned from the first case. What do you take into this experience that you want the public to also pay attention to?
Well, number one, it's going to be very important that we keep the pressure up. We are planning a day of outrage. We're working on the dates. Some have said the 28th, some have said the 27th. And so we're going to have a massive protest march and movement because one of the things that we are clear on, and that is that the system does respond to pressure. One of the things that people want to overlook about the Botham Jean piece is the fact that, it started out with a manslaughter charge. It was upgraded to a murder charge because of the pressure that was put on by protesters. And so we are going to maintain our pressure, and we're going to protest until we get an indictment for murder. We also want to encourage our people to serve on juries because when we serve on juries, it indeed makes a difference. And the bottom line is we're just going to be vigilant and we're going to pursue changes, most importantly, in the Fort Worth Police Department. Darren, it's very important for the nation to know this, and that is since June 1st, in Fort Worth alone, there have been 7 police officer-involved shootings. 6 of them have resulted in death. And so, unfortunately, what happened with our dear sister Jefferson, it's not isolated, it's not new. Fort Worth has a history, and so now we have to learn the lesson of pursuing systemic change. If we don't pursue systemic change, we'll be back here again.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there. The Reverend Dr. Frederick D. Haynes III, Senior Pastor of the Friendship West Baptist Church, also a huge social activist in the city of Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much, Dr. Haynes, for joining us here on Open.
Thank you so much.
All right. Taking a quick break. We've got more Open. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
And we're back. Many individuals are trying to find a balance between their work life and their home life. And the truth is, sometimes that balance just can't be achieved. Also, people with the busy lives and full career obligations and families and social life, the feeling of overwhelmness can actually creep in. So the question is, how do you actually deal with those situations? So joining us now to tell us more is career strategist and TV contributor Elizabeth Corazza, who we've also seen as a TV contributor, Reuters TV anchor, trains and coaches and strategizes and helps people boost their job performance, and also used to be right here with us here on BronxNet Television. Good to have you.
Great to be back, Darren. How are you today?
I am doing good, and I think I need this segment, so let's just dive right in, right? So we're talking about the work-life balance, and it is something that every professional person really struggles with. And help me out here. I mean, is it more common or is it more uncommon?
Look, life-work balance is such a challenge, which is why I don't 100% believe in this concept. Because, look, a balance means something has to be perfect. And there's no such thing as the perfect balance. So some weeks you're going to be busier at work. Some weeks you're going to be busier at home. Sometimes you're going to miss things at home. And you know what? That is okay. So we want to think about what type of expectations of this perfect life that doesn't exist that we are putting on ourselves.
And so when you talk about this perfect life, right, we have this belief of this perfect life, but you have to create this balance. And so let's walk through some steps on how do I get this balance? Because for some people, it seems like a mountain just to be able to achieve.
Well, yeah, and you don't have to do it all yourself. Sometimes we have a hard time asking for help, but you want to think about, okay, who can help me? How can I make my life easier? It doesn't mean you're being a lazy person. It means you want to actually enjoy your life and feel fulfilled. So how can I take some things off my plate and off my calendar?
And so we have what's called the Work Harmony Checklist. And so let's go through this little checklist, and hopefully we can help some people out. If you didn't help anybody out, you're helping me right now. So go ahead.
So again, as I mentioned before, you want to realize that, look, that perfect television life, it doesn't exist. So let's take those pressures and expectations off yourself right there. You want to ask for help. Who else can help me when I'm feeling like I'm out of control? Do you always feel like you're rushing and you're late for things? If that's the case, start to take things off your calendar. Start to create some space on your calendar.
And one of the things also, Elizabeth, is this thing about comparison, right? We spend a lot of times comparing our success to somebody else or looking at somebody else trying to keep up with the Joneses. And the reality is when we do that, we really put ourselves behind.
We do, because that type of comparison can be the thief of joy. It can take your joy and happiness away when you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and you just don't feel like you can. And again, that's not realistic, because that can put us on a downward spiral of feeling badly about ourselves. And that's the last thing we want to do. So if you're going to compare and you want to improve, compare yourself to a year ago. Where was I a year ago? And moving forward, you want to set goals for the next year. So then you can compare again next year to where you want to be.
And you know, people who work, there's some people who are just what we call the perfectionists, right? Got to make sure that everything is done, and that sometimes creates an unbalanced life because you're working so hard, you're trying to achieve so much, you want to get it done, you want to make sure that you've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. So what kind of advice do we have for perfectionists out there who may be struggling with the balance?
Yes, and I know all about that. I've been there, so I hear you. You really want to think about, okay, are my expectations realistic? Okay, so I want them to be realistic. And there's no such thing as perfect, because if you're striving and trying to achieve perfection, you're never going to get there. You're always going to be disappointed in yourself. And that is the last thing we want. So you want to remind yourself, look, at some point, I proofread this email a million times. You know, I've gone through this document. I'm trying to cross all the T's and dot the I's. And at the end of the day, you want to remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. My best is enough. I am enough.
But we also set ourselves up for being overwhelmed. And when you do it like that and you don't follow the advice, the main thing that happens is people sometimes become overwhelmed. So what are some strategies to dealing with working while overwhelmed or living while overwhelmed?
Okay, well, we definitely want to combat overwhelm. Nobody wants to live in that place where we're feeling anxious and on edge and crabby, and people notice sometimes you're not yourself and you might be kind of snapping like a little turtle, and that's the last thing we want to do, right? So you want to think about, what is overwhelming me? Is it my job? Is it my home life? Have I taken on a volunteer role that it's just too much work? So you want to think about, how can I take some stuff off my plate? So if it's work, can I delegate any of these tasks? Can some coworkers help me with this? Can I have a real good conversation with my manager to see if he or she can help me with this? So you want to pinpoint, where is the overwhelm coming from so you can combat it.
And when you talk about overwhelming, I think one of the things you also talked about was breathing, right? And that's a real simple exercise that a person can actually engage in to help them through.
Yeah, so when you're feeling that anxiety, that overwhelm, that pit of your stomach, uneasiness, that pressure in your chest, those feelings that we all hate getting, just taking a moment and exhaling. And then you're going to breathe in for 4. You're going to breathe out for 4, and you're going to continue this breathing pattern, because it's going to slow you down. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 as you go in, 1, 2, 3, 4 as you go out, and it's going to help stop the mind from racing and feeling so tense in the body.
It sounds so simple, but why is it so hard?
You know what? We don't have to do all these tips and all these steps and this major transformation all at once, because then that can overwhelm us, right? And sometimes when we feel like we have too big of a project to take on, we're not even going to bother with it. So do some small steps at a time. What has resonated with you during our conversation? Is it the breathing tips? Is it speaking to your manager? Is it thinking about that volunteer position, which of course is important, but there's different times to take on leadership roles in volunteer or schools or whatever you might be volunteering for. You want to think about, do I need to be doing something every week? Maybe it's once a month. Maybe that's what I can handle right now. And then during my slow time, I'm all in once again.
And this honestly is probably the busiest time of the year, right? Because you're entering into the fourth quarter for many people who are, working, and then for others who aren't, you got preparation for the holidays. So that overwhelming feeling probably kicks up a lot right now.
It is, and what I say is, don't leave all the holiday stuff till the end, right? If you know you have to do shopping, or you're a decorator, or there's people that you need to see, or there's certain expectations on you at home or in the workplace, start early. And to avoid getting overwhelmed by it even now, make a list.
Yeah.
What is the priorities? What are my priorities that I need to do? Keep them visible so you always have them there so you know what you need to do next.
Yeah, I was in Costco recently and I saw Santa and I saw the trees and I started to live in denial. So I knew I had to do something, but I don't want to do it right now. I have to wait. So, but it is what it is, right?
It is what it is, but start early. Make a list. You don't want to get home and then you already realize you had 3 trees, right? So make your list.
You're absolutely right. Elizabeth Carrazza, our guest here. We thank you so much now for joining us here on Open. Now, want to tell you, if you want more information on Elizabeth and her work, you can definitely visit her. And if you visit her at her website, of course, I'm sure that you'll be able to get all the information that you need. It's ElizabethCarrazza.com or on social media at Elizabeth Carrazza. We are taking a quick break. We do have more Open. We'll be back right after this.
Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
And we definitely want to thank you for staying with us. The BJT, better known as the Burnside, Jerome, and Tremont Avenue Bronx Merchant Association, is promoting and supporting local businesses for economic vitality. And here to share a little bit more, our representatives from the BJT, the Bronx Merchant Association, Jessica Bentecourt, Ubaldo Santos, and Cliff Whaley, and Neighborhood 360 Program Manager at Davidson Community Center, Shannon Goodson. And welcome all to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you. So for people who don't know about the BJT, and take it away, Pablo.
Yes, okay. That's a BJT is the association for Burnside Avenue, Jerome, and Tremont. We've been working me as a merchant. We are the president of the association, and then we're doing a great thing for the business. As you know, Burnside Avenue is a vibrant merchant community there, and then we really glad working with the merchants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Shannon, a little bit about your work.
What I do at Davidson, I am the Neighborhood 360 Program Manager, And what that is, Davidson Community Center received a grant from the New York City Department of Small Business Services to do commercial revitalization efforts. And so what we are doing is district marketing and merchant organizing. So I work with the merchants on putting together events for the community, any kind of initiatives that they want to do, and also district marketing, which is our newsletter, the website, our social media, and just to promote the commercial district and our merchants.
And Cliff, you're a barbershop owner. This is a
Yes.
barbershop, right? And so you've got
Absolutely.
several businesses in the neighborhood, right? What's it like to have these businesses in partnership and to have them as community in doing this great work?
It feels really good. It's a good support system, you know. I've been dealing with this business for a little while alone, so being a part of the Merchants Association, it feels like I have a team behind me, you know.
And Jessica, you've got the Bronx Optical Center.
Yes.
So you guys are a part of the Merchant Association too. What kind of benefit do you have having this partnership with other local businesses?
We have support, and we are unified, and we're trying to make Burnside, Jerome, Tremont a better place so people could walk there and have go to different businesses. So it's more of a unity, strong unity.
Yeah. Do you feel like a great difference has occurred in the area over the recent years?
Definitely. As you know, the Burnside Avenue is a vibrant business district, and recently we add Jerome Avenue and Tremont. As you notice, it's a community that being in a sense kind of forgotten. I've been there for 35 years as a business person, and we see the difference here. We, through the association, people are coming to us, and we're solving the issues, as Cliff mentioned, as a group. Different in the past that we are just there by ourselves, and that doesn't make a big difference. And the rezoning, I think, will be making even a greater difference there.
Diversity and resources always helps out in times like these. Talk to us about having the resources now of more businesses and then access to each other.
Well, it's definitely helped us to accomplish our goals. Just being able to utilize partners from the City of New York, our local businesses, some of the anchor institutions in our commercial district. It's helped us to create events to help promote our district, and also it provides resources for our merchants directly. If they have issues and concerns, whether they speak to myself or some of our other partners, they have assistance with a lot of the things that they need help with.
And Jessica, for somebody who doesn't know like what you guys have done and what you got coming up, give us a little bit.
So we have been giving back to the community. In the summer, we gave, now before the school started, we did backpacks. We gave to the community. It was a good turnout. Also in the summer, Cliff could talk to you about that. He actually gave back.
Yeah, provided free haircuts for the neighborhood, cut hair all day for free. You know, giving back to our community. They support us, we support them. We all we got, you know?
Yeah. And it's great because there's this revitalization, right? And now that people see it, and when you see it happening amongst businesses, it translates into community. So what has been the community response seeing you guys coming together?
Well, definitely. The community, especially the merchant, they are coming more often to our meetings, and they see the support because, you know, the type of thing that we, you know, although we've been doing, but lately is, as Jessica mentioned, is many more events that we're doing and bringing the, you know, the city, working with that. And this is, that's I think the most important, you know, issue. The business people coming and asking questions. And I think, you know, there will be the difference, and, you know, because one of the things that we're trying to do is to convert the association into a bid. we just make a big difference because it's something that we need those type of services. Cleanliness, which is one of the biggest issues that we have in our district. Also the security, we work very closely with the 46 precinct and those kind of things. I think, coming together and going as a group rather than just, a couple of us, make a big difference.
Well, Bob, thank you all for coming, and you're glad to
Thanks
have you.
for having
When
me.
you heard him talk a little bit about the bid, that's moving from being a merchant association to a bid, which is a business improvement district, and there is a difference between both. But if you want to find out more information about the BJT Bronx Merchant Association, you can visit their website at bjtbronx.org and on social media at bjtbronx. So stay tuned. We do have more show. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back after this, and hope to see you guys in the neighborhood. All righty, be right back.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment. A moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, kooky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count because every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words. Playing world music.
What? I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
And we are back. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but what exactly does that mean for the Bronx community? And more specifically, are medical providers and community leaders doing to address the disparity in breast cancer for the Black community? Well, joining us to tell us a little bit more is Dr. Michelle Zhu, who is the breast surgeon at the Surgical Breast Care Program at Columbia New York Presbyterian Lawrence Hospital. And we welcome you to the show.
Thanks so much. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, and so as we are talking about Awareness Month, and of course we've got the color pink on for the awareness and to raise awareness, but a lot of people are still out there in terms of not knowing all that goes on concerning breast cancer. So particularly here in our area, the Bronx, what are we looking at in terms of numbers, statistics?
Well, breast cancer is very common, unfortunately, and for Black patients, actually, the disparity rates are the most extreme when we look at all the different ethnic groups. And so when we look at Hispanic patients, actually, there are lower mortality rates and lower incidence rates, which is wonderful. Overall, we're doing great in terms of treating breast cancer, but still there are disparities that are race-specific, and that's a problem. We don't want any disparities, and we don't want breast cancer at all.
Right, but talk about this. Any reason why we're seeing these disparities? Because everybody else talks about the disparities. Any particular reasons that are causes why?
It's multifactorial, so there are many different reasons why disparities may exist, but some of them include that Black women actually have a more aggressive form of breast cancer in many circumstances. It's called triple-negative breast cancer, and it has treatment options just less than our more average breast cancer, which has the most treatment options.
And so when we talk about treatment, awareness, right, those are big things. First is awareness, right, and getting the word out. Are we seeing more and more people taking advantage of all the awareness that's being put out there? Are people coming in for testing? What are we seeing?
We are, but really, the most important thing a woman can do is know that a mammogram needs to happen. Mammograms save lives. It's screening. So our goal is to catch a cancer of the breast before you'd even feel it. So what would do that is an imaging study. So mammogram, get your mammogram, tell your sisters, tell your friends, go first of the month, go as a team, and you can support each other in getting that job done.
And there's also free clinics that go on throughout the course of the
That's
year.
right. There's mobile mammogram units. There are a lot of options. And so with our organization, we have plenty of options for women. And if you ever need advice about that, you can go to columbiasurgery.org, and there's information listed.
So when we talk a little bit about cities who've taken heed, research found that, that the number of black women dying from breast cancer over the last 10 years, Chicago, those numbers. Here in New York, we know what the numbers are looking like. Let's talk about taking heed. What should a person be doing if diagnosed? Where do you go from there?
Okay, well, I just first want to make sure we communicate that breast cancer is a public health threat. This is so critical. And so if you feel a problem or you're not sure, ask your doctor. Your doctor or clinical provider will direct you to the next best steps. But the most important thing is to have awareness. So know yourself. Know if there's a change, and if you don't recognize a change, the most important thing is to get your mammogram. Right. You may not see a problem before it's even happening.
Symptoms, you talked about change, but be a little more specific. Somebody's watching right now and say, what are those symptoms? What are the changes that I should be paying attention and notice to? What are they?
So breast masses, that certainly is cause for being aware of yourself and getting to the doctor. Doesn't mean it's a cancer, but it could represent a cancer. A change in the breast like redness, oftentimes it's a breast infection. That's the more common cause of a redness, but a very rare form of breast cancer called inflammatory breast cancer could result in breast cancer. So it's just worth talking to your doctor. Again, you don't assume it's nothing. If your sign or symptom doesn't go away, you should seek care. See somebody about it.
And for people who are diagnosed, right, there's this huge fear, there's this huge worry. Give us a little bit more about it's going to be okay with help.
So most of the time, women do great. Really, if we look at all the data, breast cancer treatments have improved over time. Mortality rates for everyone have decreased over time. Yes, there are disparities that we need to eradicate, but in general, the treatments are better. So don't be afraid of going to get help. The earlier you go, the more easily we can treat you and get you on to moving forward and looking back at breast cancer as a thing of the past.
Right. So for resources that are available through you, share with our audience a little bit about the resources that are available.
So columbiasurgery.org, again, we have resources listed, but also there is a huge cancer center at the Lawrence site and at the Columbia New York Presbyterian site on 168th. And there are nurse practitioners, there are nurse navigators, there's surgeons, medical oncologists, radiation oncologists, social workers, whole team of doctors and providers ready to help you. So it's something where you're not walking it alone. It may feel scary, of course that it is, but you're with a team of people who want the best for you and will make sure you have the best outcomes.
All right, Dr. Michelle Lizzou, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
All righty, listen, now if you want more information, you're encouraged to make a good appointment. Call 914-787-3157. And how often should people be tested?
Well, it's controversial, but
right.
Once a year to twice a year, depending on your age group. Ask your doctor, look at your risk factors in terms of family history. Your doctor will help guide you.
She's politically correct. I like her. All right, don't go anywhere. We have more Open coming up right after this. Thank you.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
I love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
And you are back with us. The University Neighborhood Housing Program is hosting Bronxtober Resource Fest, providing housing and financial resources for Bronx renters, homeowners, senior citizens, and interested home buyers. And joining us now to tell us more about the event are Jamelia Abramson, who is Director of Programs, and Laura Guerrero, who is Housing and Financial Advocate at the University Neighborhood Housing Program. And we welcome you both to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you. A lot going on, huh?
There's a lot going on in October.
Yeah. So walk us through it.
So University Neighborhood Housing Program is a nonprofit that has been around in the neighborhood for over 30 years. And we bring resources to the neighborhood, mainly around financial and housing services. And in October, we host this large Bronxtoberfest, which is a big housing fair where we bring different city agencies and financial providers to be able to showcase their services and give on-the-spot assistance for people that are seeking these services and may not know about them.
And the access to resources is big, right? And so talk about these access to resources and people not knowing. What are people finding out when they really take part? Go.
Yeah, so usually we promote it on social media, but Laura is at the Resource Center, which is the direct service component that we host on a weekly basis, and people can apply directly for housing opportunities as these become available. And Laura can talk a little bit about those options that people have.
Yeah, so we help people to create an account with Housing Connect, whoever hasn't done it before. We'll guide them through how to create it, how to edit their profile, how to put information in the profile so they can be able to apply to the different developers that are listed in Housing Connect. And it goes accordingly to the income. The lowest one right now is Creston Parkview, which is $18,000, the lowest for one single person, up to seven, family of seven, up to $145,000.
And so people could take part, and we'll of course give you that information a little bit about it at the end. Talk about the festival, though. A long time putting it together. A lot of people coming to the table. And so as you have these people who are coming, and there's a lot of assistance that's actually provided, what are some of the most common resources that people are really coming for?
Definitely looking to rent an apartment, buy a house, or renew their benefits, either food stamps, the rent freeze program for our senior and disabled population. Sometimes people are just looking to know what their credit score is and how that has been a barrier to obtaining housing.
In financial services, right? That's a big component of getting assistance with financial services. What are the financial services that people are seeking too?
So we can pull their credit report on the spot, review any issues, address how to improve the score, create a budget, connect them to the right product when it comes to banking. We'll have banks and financial and credit unions there to be able to open accounts, banking products, or credit cards, secured cards, mortgages. So there's a range of services available for people.
Right. And this Saturday is the day, huh?
It's this Saturday, the 19th, beginning at 11 a.m. We hope to see many people that don't know where to turn to make sure that we can guide them in the right direction. Right. People are not going to come out with an apartment, but at least with a map of where to navigate this complicated system when it comes to online or how many applications am I sending a day.
And when you're dealing with people, what are some of the most frequently asked questions they have?
How do I apply? Do I qualify? What's the income range? What's the family size? How many units are available? And the credit. If it's good, if it's bad, and how can they fix it to be able to obtain an apartment?
We want to thank you guys. You're doing bringing a great resource to the borough, and hopefully we can get people out on Saturday.
Hopefully.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
We want to let you know, listen, the Bronxtober Resources Festival is taking place, as I said, on Saturday, October 19th, and that's from 11 to 4 at the Concourse House, located at 2751 Grand Concourse. Now, if you do need more information about the event and University Neighborhood Housing Program, please visit their website at unhp.org, or you can pick up the phone and call 718-933-2539. Once again, that number, 718-933-2539. Jamelia, Laura, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
In sports news, with the trip to the World Series on the line, the New York Yankees returned home to the Bronx last night, tied 1-1 against the Houston Astros. Our Bobby C has the ALCS Game 3 report.
The Bronx Bombers split the first two games of the American League Championship Series in Houston and returned to the Bronx Tuesday night for Game 3 of the ALCS, but they had the very difficult task of trying to beat a pitcher that hasn't lost since May. Although Garrett Cole did not have his best stuff by his standards, he went on to pitch 7 scoreless innings and route to leading the Astros to a 4-1 win.
I mean, anytime things aren't going your way, you get a little frustrated. I mean, we did a good job of getting some guys on base on him early in the game, making him throw a good bit of pitches, and you know, like you said, he was on the ropes a couple times and he was able to get out of it. So, you know, that's what the best pitchers do. And you know, unfortunately, we just we weren't able to come through with that big hit tonight.
It just takes that one swing to kind of get us rolling and, you know, kind of break through, but we just weren't able to get that big hit. You know, and I had a situation, I think maybe in the third or fourth, where I had 2 guys on and I wasn't able to come through. So it's, you know, this is the postseason. You got to come through in those situations.
I think it's about going in there and just making good pitches, and when you don't, they capitalize. It's a really good hitting team. But you know, we've had some stretches too where maybe we've struggled and we've bounced back fine. So I think we're gonna be okay.
Just facing really good pitching, and obviously, you know, I thought Didi hit a 3-run homer tonight. Ball just hung up just enough, and you know, just a couple close calls like that. You know, unfortunately, you know, we just weren't able to get a whole lot going.
Yeah, I mean, we always jump at it. We always had a really good team, so it's nothing changes. One bad game, so I think everything goes back to normal. So tomorrow's a new day.
Game 4 of the ALCS, weather permitting, is Wednesday night in the Bronx.
Bobby C bringing us the inside pitch. Yes, the Yankees are tied 1-1 right here in the borough of the Bronx. Returning home, we will see how the Bombers do. Of course, if you're headed out to Yankee Stadium, be sure to leave early, with traffic being a major tie-up. All right, well, Lehman College is hosting their 6th annual Global Citizen Gala fundraiser benefiting the Lehman Life. Leaders involved for everyone. That's the acronym LIFE, for the ability of alternative break and study abroad programs, ensuring that Lehman students will have the chance to experience the world. And joining us now to tell us more is Amanda DeBoer Milwaukee, right? Got it right.
You got it.
Right, it is. Director of the International Programs and Community Engagement over at Lehman College. You know, the last time I think I messed up, I said, let me do it twice.
That's okay.
But good to see you again, Amanda.
That's because you went to Kenya now, so now you've got
I know, now I got it, right? I'm down. So talk to us. Exciting time again for you as you are helping students really cross the path.
For sure, yeah. This year we've actually got a little bit of a change because we're now the Office of International Programs and Community Engagement, whereas before we focused on just the alternative breaks. Now we're focusing on student opportunities to study abroad and volunteer abroad. So the gala raises money for our students. You know, more and more employers are looking for students with a global perspective. And so why not our Lehman College students that get those jobs, that get out there and say, yes, I've had that global experience.
So talk about the students who participate in the program. First of all, what kind of program is it and what did they go through?
Sure. So the students in the program are all Lehman College undergraduates and even graduate students. Most of our students, we are a Hispanic serving institution, we're a minority serving institution, and a lot of our students don't necessarily have the resources to go and travel abroad and explore the world in the way that your more privileged students get to do. And so they'll travel abroad, they start meeting right away, they meet all year, every week for 2 hours a week. I never cancel, they hate that. But by the time they go somewhere, they're actually informed citizens of that community. They're not showing up saying, hey, we're here to build a school, when what they really needed was a clinic. They understand what the needs are of the community, the political situation, the culture, and they can have a conversation and learn so much more from that community. So the goal is you start at home, you volunteer at home so you know what's happening in your own backyard, take that experience somewhere else, learn from them, and then continue to bring it back home. And hopefully that cycle continues of the students giving back to the community.
And so you have this gala, right? This gala goes to, first of all, give some awards out too, but in addition to getting awards, you're raising money so that we can help these students actually go out there.
100%, yes. We are recognizing leaders in the community. We're honoring a journalist, TJ English, who is a New York Times bestselling author and journalist. And then we're also bringing it back home this year, and we're honoring 2 of our faculty members who have thanklessly run our study abroad CREEP program, Marie Marionetti and Yuri Gorogovich. And then we're bringing one of our advisors who's been with us pretty much since the beginning, Jackie Morrow. She's the director of the Lehman College Student Child Care Center, and she has been leading trips, serving on our advisory committee, supporting the students since 2009. And then we're also honoring an alumnus for the first time. We have an alumni actual award, and that's going to Cyril Njikang, who actually got his start with BronxNet. And he is an alumnus who went to Honduras with us years ago. And when he got back, he realized the need for the support in his community in Cameroon. And he started his own nonprofit in Cameroon called My Sister Cares. And then every single weekend, he's been out in the community with his 3 small children. He just goes out and cleans up the streets. No one asks him to. He just goes out there with his kids, shows them what it's like to be a community leader, and people just start joining in. So 2 days after the gala, we'll be joining him and surprising him on whatever block he's in. Not a surprise anymore, obviously.
Right. You just blew a surprise.
Right. There goes that. But here, he kind of has a clue. But we're going to join him in the cleanup in the community. So we're honoring people and bringing it back home. And these are people who are now giving back to the community that many have participated in Lehman Life.
And the takeaway for students, right? I mean, they have the opportunity to travel abroad. They have the opportunity to volunteer at home and then travel abroad. What's it like after they've had the experience and they come back?
So our gala video this year is actually focusing on that, with students saying, I never thought I'd, and have the opportunity to do something. So a student, when we were sitting in South Africa in the Maibuye archives from apartheid, is sitting there holding a rugby scorecard from Mandela when he was imprisoned. And we were archiving all of these items for the archivist. And she turned to the archivist and she said, well, who gets to take these out of the plastic when I'm done? And he said, that's it. You're it. And she was like, wait. I'm the last person that's ever touching this scorecard from Mandela, from prison. And he was like, yeah. And her face just said it all. And that's the type of experience that they come home with. Maybe not everyone has that exact experience, obviously, depending on where we go. But it's the idea that I've never thought I'd be providing health care in Peru. I never thought I'd be building a school for children in Kenya. I never thought that I had these opportunities. And once they get that taste, they kind of get the bug, not only to continue with service, but also to travel and experience the world. And maybe next semester they study abroad, or maybe they start with study abroad and then come and do Lehman Life. But they get these opportunities, and they're amazing, amazing community members when they return to the Bronx, and that makes a difference.
Well, you do amazing work.
Thank you.
And we want to make sure we get people out to the gala, so definitely good to see you
Next
again.
Thursday, come on out. Lehman.edu/global gala is where you can get your tickets.
There it is. Well, she said it, so I'm going to say it again, though. The 6th Annual Global Citizenship Gala, benefiting Lehman Life, is taking place, yes, on Thursday, October 24th. Now you can get the whole graphic. You can see the whole thing. There it is. October 24th, from 6 to 10 at Villa Barone Manor, 737 Throgs Neck Expressway. Now, if you do want more information about the event, please visit their website at lehman.edu Global Gala. Well, we've come to the end of our show today. Want to thank our guests for joining us, and most of all, want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67. If you have Verizon Fios 33, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. Also, a special shout out to all those who are watching on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is broadcast simultaneously live on MNN's channel. Special shout out to Ann, my sister, and the family. Listen, that wraps it up for us here on this set of Open. Darren Jaime, make sure to keep this channel wide open. Rena's going to bring it back again on Friday at 10 a.m. Take care. God bless. We'll talk to you.